Shalom, Christopher Enoch here. A few people asked me, what is your vision? Like, you have a ministry, what is your vision? My vision is quite simple, actually. And that is to get back to the early apostles' faith, okay? Get back to the faith of the apostles, first century apostles. I'm talking about just getting back to Book of Acts type practice, Book of Acts type faith. Every Christian out there, every believer out there ought to believe in the Bible. And every Christian out there who believes in the Bible ought to be saying, hey, we ought to do things the way they did it in the Bible. Like, not just have the Bible as something that's sitting up on the shelf and we have our own little thing going on that's not even part of the Bible, even though we're supposed to be the church of the Bible. It doesn't make any sense, okay? Just getting back to first century faith, of the faith of the apostles. Sounds quite simple, but actually it is. There's a lot to that. I mean, that is a mouthful. There's a lot involved in that statement there. Like, a lot of people don't realize, the first century apostles did things a whole lot differently than the pastors, bishops, priests, rabbis of today do. They did things a whole lot differently, and I'm calling people back to the way it used to be. I mean, look at the way it was back then. Look who was leading the church back then. I mean, we had Peter, we had James, we had John, we had Kepha. Peter's name is Kepha, and James, his real name was Yaakov or Jacob, and John, his name was Yehochanan. These core leaders of the church really had a lot of things over us. I mean, they walked and talked with Hamashiach in the flesh. They walked and talked with the Lord in the flesh. They heard his voice. They seen him do the miracles. They had privileges that nobody else had. They were the three that the Lord chose to go up on the mountain of transfiguration. They were the only three that were allowed up on the mountain. They were the only three that were allowed in the room when Yahushua raised the dead. They were the inner circle of the Lord. These gentlemen were the foundation. These people had wonderful insight. Yahushua said himself to them, he said, many prophets just would have loved to see what you saw, loved to hear what you hear, and they could not. And even now today, we would have loved to see what they saw and hear what they hear, and have the opportunity to walk with Jesus, with Yahushua in the flesh. I mean, what a wonderful thing that is. So there you have it, in a nutshell. My vision is to get back to first century Christianity, if you will. I mean, why would you want to go back to first century Christianity? Somebody asked. Well, again, these are the people that were at the core of everything. They heard, they saw Jesus in the flesh. They knew him who knew Jesus? Who knew Yehoshua like they did? Who will know him like they did? I mean, these men are remarkable. The 12 disciples are remarkable. It says in the scriptures, their names are on the foundation of heaven. Who can say that? Okay? Who can say that? There's 12 gates in heaven, and each one has got the name of one of the 12 disciples. Like, oh my. What an amazing privilege these men had, and we ought to follow their example, especially the example of the inner core group. That would be Peter, James, and John. Let's bring things back to the way they were, because now the church is way downstream, so to speak, and we've picked up a lot of pollutants along the way. Let's get rid of these pollutants. Let's get rid of these man-made doctrines, theologies, rules, regulations, and all that stuff, and let's get back to the core. Join me in bringing the church back to first century Book of Acts type doctrine and practice. I mean, it is awesome. It's awesome. So check out my blog entries at christopherenoch.org and check out the rest of my videos. Thanks for watching.